Hello, my one sister.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. This is Regina from Atlanta,
And I'm Carrie from Oregon, and we
and
are.
we are One Sisters of the Vine. And we are coming to you doing a little intravenous little segment about the election.
Woohoo!
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 And to talk about some wines that we're gonna obviously talk about tonight. We have some amazing wines, Silver Ridge from Oregon,
Yeah,
and I think my wine sister Carrie has a personal connection with this vineyard, and we have another one that we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the conversation um, that Carrie is going to present to us. So let's go.
let's go. And the personal connection definitely starts with your personal connection, and we're drinking some Sylvan Ridge Pinot Gris right there, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Out of Eugene, Oregon. Not so far away from me, about an hour and a half, about 4,000 miles from where you're sitting there in Atlanta, right?
Yes, about 4,000 miles, give or
Right,
take.
right, give or take, right? But here you have it in your wine store, Kirk's and Cuvée in
I
Atlanta,
do.
right? So we're connecting this small world of ours. Um, so let's talk about your sorority connection to Kamala Harris before we talk about mine, because that's on our mind with this fabulous historic moment where we put the first female in the office of vice president and hopefully someday to be president. And she belongs to your sorority.
She does. I am a member 31 years in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I am so ecstatic that my soror, Kamala Harris, is the first African American woman, first Indian American woman, first woman. Let's talk about that.
Yay!
Vice President elect of the United States of America.
Um,
That is so huge, and I could not be more happy to say that, you know, being a member of this sorority has been phenomenal. Sarah Kamala Harris is has done wonders for not only African American women, just women in general, and Indian American women. Her mom was a phenomenal woman who instilled in her that there was no ceiling. And she has proven that to be true in this election. And so, with Joe Biden as president elect and Kamala Harris as vice president elect, I am uber supportive of everything that they have to bring to the table. I am so proud that she has burst the glass ceiling of not only being the first woman vice president elect, the first Indian American woman elect, and most certainly the first African American woman elect. I cannot even tell you what that brings to
oh, me too. I think that exemplifies what we are doing here on Wine Sisters Cheers for Change, which is shining the light on our commonalities in all sort of diverse areas for women who are just shining their light without a ceiling, glass ceiling, shattering the glass ceiling, just doing the best version of themselves. And
absolutely.
The last week has been fraught with a lot of stress for everybody, regardless of who you voted for. But there is no denying that with her election, we have crossed together. We've shattered that glass ceiling, and it's very inspirational. So we're shining a spotlight on that today. And
Yes, absolutely. And even with, all of the political turmoil that we're going through right now, the fact that a an African American and Indian American woman made it to the ticket is phenomenal. And then to proceed to win the election is phenomenal. And so there are a lot of little girls out there who never thought this would be possible for them. And I don't care if they're black, white, whatever, it is a monumental um,
step forward.
experience for all of our young girls out here to say that, you can do and be whatever you want to be. And there is no limit, no ceiling. There is nothing that you can't do.
And that makes me think let's put our pictures of you and I, Regina, our little girl pictures on this blog post.
I'm scared to do that.
Yeah, we're going to do it because here's to those little girls who, never really realized that we would grow up and in our lifetimes that we would see a woman in a presidential role, vice presidential role in the White House. And
Exactly.
so with that, I'm super excited to have you share with us the Pinot Gris from Sylvan Ridge from my sorority sister, her family, Elizabeth Chambers. And even though Elizabeth herself is no longer with us, she was part of the founding of the Sylvan Ridge. The Chambers family purchased it from Doyle Hinman in 1979. And Liz was a young graduate from University of Oregon, which is my alumni. And that's where we were at our sorority. And she is a member of Kappa Alpha Theta. And Liz, her mother, empowered her. Her mother was Carolyn, was her name, and said, Liz, you're going to go forward and you're going to manage this winery, Sylvan Ridge, which she did for a number of years, maybe even a couple decades, and then started her own winery called Elizabeth Chambers Cellars. So let's see what you have to think about that Pinot Gris.
I think it's fantastic, and I had some lobster tails just chilling, and I steamed them with a little Old Bay and did a little bit of Alfredo sauce over top. It was
nice.
fantastic. I cannot tell you, it is a very complex little Pinot Gris that I absolutely love. It is fantastic with this lobster tail.
Oh my gosh, sounds
with a little butter and it's fantastic. I can't even tell you. I'm so excited about it.
Here's to that. And lemon. Yeah. Fantastic.
It was a perfect pairing, I have to tell you.
Wow. And you've been eating those lobster tails too with that peanut, you'd say the Pinot Gris and lobster tail. This has been like.
We did just a little butter sauce and just a hint of Alfredo and over the top, and it was just fantastic. And if you dip the, lobster tail in the butter,
yeah,
fantastic.
Oh my gosh, perfect with Pinot Gris, seafood and Pinot Gris, like the perfect pairing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making me hungry because you're 3 hours ahead of me over there in Atlanta, and I'm so hungry here in
yes.
Which brings me to our second wine. This is a Four Graces Pinot Gris. Also another Oregon Pinot Gris. This was named after the Black family actually founded this in the winery in the 90s. And he named it after his four daughters, the Four Graces. So if you go on their website, you can see
Okay.
them running through the vineyard, and really pretty label, and in honor of his daughters, which I thought was really cool too, kind of going with our theme tonight of female empowerment and women in the wine industry and just women who are expressing themselves in their expertise, whatever the field. And so with that,
Whatever the field, let's just call that out.
right, whatever the field.
We are talking about women empowerment tonight, and I think we know many people in different regions and different climates, different
Careers.
occupations
Yeah.
that will totally get what we're bringing to the table tonight.
Right. Because Kamala Harris is owning her victory and being a role model for women, all women, regardless of skin color or religious background or gender. Gender, but I mean, what a role model for women. And what has happened in the last week is so historic for all of us. So we're going to be talking about this for months.
And we are just happy to celebrate, women empowerment this night.
That's right. That's right. And so with that, this Oregon Pinot Gris, again, here's to the historic win of Kamala Harris and self-empowerment and what we can all do together, one vote at a time.
One vote at a time.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of, the story of winemaking too. It's all of these steps go into producing a bottle of wine. And, we're all in this together, whether it's making a bottle of wine or whether it's voting to put a woman in office. That's the powerful thing, and that's our powerful connection too, just the connection of you and I on two different coasts. Mm-hmm. Elevating women's different experiences and celebrating and amplifying, women who are persevering and making a difference in their occupation.
Even in the pandemic.
During the pandemic. Exactly. And that's a whole nother episode right there.
Whole nother episode. But
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right.
We talk about how we persist. I mean, there are a lot of women out here persisting, even in the pandemic, and they have dreams and goals. And so we want to exemplify that here on this stage. And I think, when we met, in Lodi, California, who knew we would be connecting today in 2020, right? So that was 4 years ago. So we are in 2020. I think we have a fantastic opportunity to bring light to women who are doing everything that they can do through this pandemic this year.
Right. Who knew that our chance meeting 4 years ago at that wine bloggers conference would turn out to be us filming 15 episodes of our first season of Wine Sisters, Cheers for Change. It just goes to show you the power of connection just for two people, what two people can do during the pandemic. Still, we persisted, despite the fact that you're running your wine store in Atlanta, and I'm a wine consultant for different wine brands here in Portland, Oregon. And the power of connection is so powerful. And that's also what put Kamala Harris in office. Is the power of connection, the power of you belonging to a sorority that supported her and nationwide,
mm-hmm.
helped put her in office. There's magic to that connection.
There is a magic to that. And I couldn't be more proud of my sorority sister, Kamala Harris, for everything she's done, not just for the vice presidency elect position, but everything she's done up to this point. Because there was, I mean, nobody would have picked her out of anywhere, right? Had she not done the work to
Yeah,
get to this point. And so I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for our relationship,
me too.
because it is something that was unexpected, but totally appreciated.
Yes, and vice versa. My wine
Mm,
sister, and that's why we're doing Wine Sisters Cheers for Change, because we're celebrating friendships like ours,
mhm.
nationwide, and celebrating the victory this week of elevating, women everywhere by having the first woman in the White House. So there's
Exactly.
that. And here's to
Cheers to that.
a beautiful episode of Wine Sisters Cheers for Change. Until next time, my wine sister. Love ya.
I love you more.